true cinema fans, it's time to continue our journey of reviewing the classic Universal monster movies. Frankenstein's Monster, The Wolfman, Dracula, House of Frankenstein. You thought Frankenstein meets the Wolfman was amazing? You ain't seen nothing yet. I know I said Frankenstein meets the Wolfman is my favorite in the franchise, and that's true, but what's so crazy about this one is we get 3 monsters this time: Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and Dracula, all into one. The movie starts off in a prison cell with characters of Nyman and assistant Daniel, played by J. Carrol Naish. They both chat about brain transplanting, involving replacing a dog's brain with a human brain. And we learn the brother of Nyman had previously worked for Dr. Frankenstein, learning all of his secrets. Lightning and thunder strikes the prison and it explodes, which gives Nyman and Daniel the opportunity to escape. Nyman and Daniel meet a man named Lampini who travels with an exhibit of the skeleton of Count Dracula, and he claims that he discovered it in Transylvania. Nyman becomes intrigued by the exhibit and wants to take it over, so he orders Daniel to eliminate Lampini, and it turns out that the whole thing is a cover-up from the authorities. He never really cared about showing the skeleton off as an exhibit. Nyman, like an idiot, pulls the stake from the heart area of Dracula's skeleton, and Dracula is revived. Man, I love the transition where he goes from skeleton to being alive again. Pretty impressive effects for back then. So cool. This time, Dracula is played by actor John Carradine, who I gotta say is a great actor and actually did a very impressive job as Dracula. In exchange and protecting Dracula's coffin, Dracula becomes Nyman's personal slave. Nyman seeks revenge through Dracula and uses him to kill off the authorities that put him in that jail cell. One of the bummers of this film is that not very long in the film, Dracula is killed off as he is running away from the police while attempting to catch up to Nyman and Daniel on the exhibit wagon. They decide to dump the coffin to make sure there is no heat on them as well. Dracula attempts to get to the coffin before sunrise, but too late, Dracula is turned back into a skeleton. Bummer. Nyman and Daniel arrive in Frankenstein's town and see a gypsy named Alana, who Daniel gets a little crush on. Her boss acts like a total unprofessional piece of crap and takes her money and abuses her. Daniel isn't having it and teaches him manners, as anybody should who beats a woman. Alana hits the road with them and is just disgusted about Daniel's appearance. Nyman makes his way to what remains of the Frankenstein castle and discovers the bodies of the monster and the Wolfman frozen in ice. He decides to thaw them out. The monster isn't awake yet, but Larry Talbot, aka the Wolfman, is, and he is not a happy camper about it. And it's understandable why. I mean, he's tired of coping with the curse of being a werewolf and just wants to be put to peace. So being frozen in ice, I guess, was his only peace from the curse. But Nyman claims he has a cure for him, and that is through brain transplanting. Daniel hates being a hunchback and wants the same cure, which Nyman also promised him. Wow, Nyman, hope you can come through on those promises! But unfortunately, he gets too focused on the brain swapping with the monster. He decides to abduct Ullman and Strauss, who are former assistants of his that stabbed him in the back, betraying him. His plan is to swap Ullman's brain with the monster, and the Wolfman into Strauss. So I guess that's supposed to turn him into the Beast instead. Okay, that's weird. I mean, either way he's going to become a werewolf. He's not thinking this through. The heartbreak continues, and Alana dumps on Daniel some more by taking a liking to Larry. That, of course, is heartbreaking to Daniel. I mean, of course, wouldn't it be to anyone? He then wants Nyman to swap his brain with Larry's, but Nyman stands on his decision to putting the monster's brain instead. Boy, they sure went nuts with the brain swapping in this movie. Daniel decides to warn Alana of Larry's werewolfism, and this of course sets her off because she assumes he is green with envy.
I don't believe you. You're making it all up because you're jealous. I hate you. You're mean. And you're ugly. I hate you! I hate you!
It turns out that Alana actually knew that Larry was a werewolf. She just went with it anyway because he was more handsome. The character of Alana honestly really makes me mad. She just hates Daniel because of the hump on his back. And we all know that witches like that are destined to be alone forever. The full moon transforms Larry into the werewolf, and he attacks Alana as she shoots him with a silver bullet, and they both die. I actually love the concept of both of those things. Larry is finally at peace, free from the curse of werewolfism, and Alana dies being nothing but a shallow witch. Groovy. Daniel, of course, mourns her death. Nyman revives the monster, and Daniel gets fed up with everything Nyman has been doing. The monster unstraps himself from the table, and as doing so, we see the shadows of Daniel killing Nyman. The monster picks up Daniel and throws him through a window and kills him. The monster picks the body of Nyman up. The villagers show up with torches. The monster is carrying Nyman into a swamp, and it turns out it's quicksand, and they both sink together. And, well, that's it. Before amazing cartoons such as the Drak Pack, comedy shows such as The Munsters, movies such as The Monster Squad, and, yeah. Before all of that, this is the film that started it all. It's a fantastic movie, but there are some flaws. For example, Nyman wanting to swap Larry Talbot's brain with Strauss's brain so he can't turn into the Beast anymore. How is that going to help? Either way, he is still Larry Talbot and will still become the werewolf at any full moon. Doesn't make any sense. Also, when Nyman explains how his brother previously worked for Dr. Frankenstein, who is he referring to? There's been different assistants. Was it Fritz? Igor? Carl? Not only that, but there's also been different scientists who followed in Frankenstein's footsteps. There was Dr. Pretorius, the son Wolf Frankenstein, the other son Ludwig Frankenstein. Which is his brother? Who is it? It's never referred to again in this movie. We never find out what that is. Also, Lampini claiming he found Dracula's skeleton in Transylvania. In the movie, Dracula moved to London, England, and Van Helsing killed him. In the novel, Jonathan Harker and Quincy Morris killed Dracula after he fled back to Transylvania. So it doesn't match up with how Dracula died in the original movie. So the movie does have its flaws, but it's still an absolutely excellent movie, and I would recommend it for anybody that's getting into the Frankenstein franchise, so check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will continue our journey of reviewing the classic Universal monster movies. See you next time for my review of The House of Dracula. Keep getting your cinema on.